panel joins me now. Our viewers will recognize most of you, but Rana Epting, MoveOn.org Executive Director. Welcome to State of the Union. It's great to see you all here. Okay, so let's start with the Libertarian Convention. We were saying, as we were coming into this segment, I mean, the Libertarian Convention has never gotten this much play, like ever, so they achieved that.
Yeah, normally it's because someone goes on the stage and takes all their clothes off, or, I mean, remember, this is a convention for people who tuck their shirts into their underwear. I mean, it's a weird...
Is that really a thing? Wow.
Yeah, but Trump going there this week, they are striking such a confident pose right now. He goes to the Libertarians and tells them, if you want to keep getting your 3%, go ahead, otherwise come with me. He goes to the Bronx and says, I'm better than Joe Biden. I'm trying to build a party that's inclusive of you. I think all the places he's going, they are striking this confident pose. And it's a campaign unlike we've seen from other Republican candidates. I think it's pretty confident, and they know they're winning, and they're trying to take advantage of that position.
Oh, see, I think it's the opposite. I mean, traditionally, you're not going to send your candidate into a place where you know he's going to get jeered for 30 minutes. He also cut his speech short. I mean, he wasn't enjoying it. He wasn't loving it. So I know the spin from the Trump campaign has been like, we're trying to go into non-traditional places and unite the country. But
that doesn't even make any sense. So because Trump goes into what should be hostile territory and he receives a few boos, like he's all of a sudden desperate? No. He's on a roll right now. Like, the trends are going towards Trump. So why not? Why not show up? I know Joe Biden won't. Joe Biden gets booed everywhere he goes. Joe Biden gets booed in his own hometown. Like, come on now. Stop it with the nonsense. Joe Biden can't even go to his own hometown without getting booed and people giving him the middle finger, right? Trump went to the Bronx, a heavy blue district, by I think over 90%, and held a rally in a deep blue district. It's not just like light blue, a deep blue district. Held a rally of reports say between 20,000 and 30,000 people. Could Joe Biden ever do that? Could Joe Biden pull that off in a red state, in a red district? Joe Biden couldn't even pull it off in a blue district, let alone a red district. So, like, how is he desperate? All of the polls are pointing towards Trump. Anytime Trump is out interacting with folks, which he does it all the time, he goes to UFC, he goes to he went to the NASCAR, the racing joint before. I think he went again, right? Everywhere this guy shows up, everyone's cheering. He's gone to football games. Whatever Joe Biden shows his face, he's getting booed out of the place. So come on, stop it with the nonsense. Let's be real here. Let's be real.
You know, this to me actually shows how concerned they are. They're concerned about RFK Jr. They see him taking enough of Trump's support in polls that they felt like they had to send their guy in to essentially get like macheted at the Libertarian Conference because they're worried about the support that RFK Jr. is getting. And don't forget, he's also in the Bronx.
Hold on, wait a minute. We gotta address that, okay? Do you really think Republicans are going to support this guy? This guy is allegedly pulling support from Trump. Check it out.
RFK Jr., you said voter ID was racist. Is that true?
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't see it. You know, I had a lot of positions.
It's actually a comic book written by radical Democrat RFK Jr. Argues, among other things, that voter ID laws are, quote, I kid you not, racially rancid.
Red state people are more likely to murder you, to impregnate your teenage daughter, to commit a violent crime against you, to commit a non-violent crime against you, to watch Desperate Housewives on TV, to buy pornography, to buy, degenerate video games like Grand Theft Auto.
You've called for curbing, logging, oil drilling, fracking. You wanted to eliminate it. You called it a victory for democracy. You want to curb U.S. fossil fuel extraction. Keep it in the ground, you once tweeted. You want a ban on fossil fuel extraction, a ban on fracking.
They are contemptible human beings, and that, I wish that there were a law you could punish them under.
I think the Green Deal is, all of that stuff is important, is good, we ought to be pursuing it. I believe that we should use market mechanisms like carbon taxes.
Really? Republicans are going to vote for that guy? Come on, stop it. Like, that didn't even remotely sound like somebody a Republican would vote for. Come on. That definitely sounded exactly like what Democrats sound like, which he is a Democrat. He started off his campaign running as a Democrat. So let's stop it with that whole narrative. But let's continue.
Because he's on trial in Manhattan and tethered to New York. So I don't know that that's like such a strategic decision as it is.
That's false because first off, the trial was paused. So he could go anywhere he wants to. And second, the guy's got a private plane. Like, bro, this whole left-wing narrative, oh, he's tethered and, because he has a court, so he has to stay there. He's got a private plane. He can go anywhere he wants to. The guy could go on to the other side of the planet and be back before the trial because he has a private plane. It's not like the guy has to drive anywhere. Like, come on now. Like, that whole narrative is BS. But go, continue on.
Is a tactical one.
Yeah, I think it.
No, go ahead.
I'd just also add, I think it's notable that when Trump was up there, he was getting booed primarily. I think that's what we heard through the streams. And while one could admire a 50-state strategy, let's talk to everyone, but I think the boos at the Libertarian Convention, the smaller crowd at the Bronx rally, I think this is enough just evidence when he's not talking to his hardcore base. It's evidence that the anti-Trump sentiment is still out there and it's very strong.
The anti-Trump sentiment is out there and it's strong, but the guy went to a heavy blue district and had a rally. But the anti-Trump sentiment is out there and strong. And the crazy part about this is if he only went to, areas where, that are heavy red or went and only spoke to white people, right? They would complain about that and say, oh, well, Trump he's showing his true colors. We told you this guy was racist. But then he goes and he speaks to black, Hispanics, Asians in a heavy blue district. And then they say, oh, well, he's desperate. So it's just like... that they're always going to find some way, somehow, to complain about what Trump is doing, right? Goodness gracious.
I think going to the Libertarian Convention was smart. According to Gallup, they represent 17 to 20% of the American electorate. Maybe you shave off 8% of them. That can make a difference in a very, very tight presidential race. Regardless of the reasons of going to the Bronx, it's important. No one should be presumptive to assume that people of color are going to just vote one way purely because they're black or because they're Hispanic. That seems to be the case for my Democratic friends. And I think it's why a lot of people of color are looking at Joe Biden and they're realizing that my life is not better. When I go to the grocery store, things are expensive. The infrastructure in my surrounding community has not improved. And when I think about the future for my children, they're still in dilapidated schools where the educational system is deplorable. That's the Democratic message in my perspective. And so to have a Republican show up, whether he's being booed, jeered, whatever the case may be, he's showing up to places where Joe Biden is not, and I think that's going to make a difference.
Well fucking said. Well said. At least he showed up. At least he didn't cower and go to his basement like Joe Biden. I'm going to be respectful because I almost said some crazy stuff right there. At least he doesn't cower in his basement like Joe Biden and hide away from everyone. At least he's not afraid to go out in front of folks. At least he doesn't request a debate with no crowd and then tries to use the narrative, oh, well, we want to hear what each candidate has to say. Well, you wouldn't have to worry about that if you weren't getting booed, would you? You know you're going to get booed. That's why you don't want a crowd. Don't try to use this, oh, but we want to hear what the candidates have to say. You would be able to hear exactly what Trump has to say because they ain't going to be booing Trump. They're going to be booing Biden, and everybody knows it. Like, come on now. Stop it with the nonsense. Like, hey, my guy right here was completely spot on.
Biden campaign is doing significant outreach to minority voters. I mean, look at their advertising. Look at, Biden was at Morehouse. Biden has spent a lot of time. They recognize, well, you laugh, but they recognize that they have outreach to do to that community. So I think
And Biden is also the same guy that said, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. So stop it. Stop it with the BS. His running mate is the same chick that was locking up black folks in California for smoking weed and then laughed about smoking weed in an interview when she was asked if she ever smoked it. So come on, stop it with the BS. Democrats are these loving and caring people for black people. They aren't. Neither one of those folks are. Neither one of them. They do the same thing every 4 years. Oh, whoa, look, guys, black people, come out and vote for us. We're going to do this and do that every 4 years. And then as soon as the election is over, they disappear. It's gone. As soon as election time starts to come up, that's when they start doing all this pandering. And Kamala has the hip-hop party at her house. Oh, we're going to invite some black kids from the HBCUs, and we're going to play some hip-hop at the vice president's house. Like, come on, stop it with the bullshit. Like, who's buying this? I'm not buying it. Honestly, it's a slap in the face. Like, you think y'all could just do this every 4 years and like we just supposed to just continue on with this? Like you said, communities absolutely destroyed. Look. The only city that I have to bring up is Chirac. There's an American city nicknamed Chirac. And who's running that city? It ain't the mean, terrible white folks, the mean, terrible Republicans. That city has been run by Democrats for the last 70 years. And how well has that gone? So you can't blame the big bad boogeyman white man or Trump. Can't blame the big bad boogeyman Republican. It's Democrats. Black Democrats at that. Absolutely decimated that city. So, like, what are we, like, it's not even a debate at this point. It's not even close. Look what these folks have done to these cities. And they're all Democrats. And a lot of them are black. So, what are we talking about here? It's just obvious. Like, this whole, my goodness.
That somehow Biden is taking those voters for granted, that's just not borne out in what you see in their strategy. They know that they've got to work to bring some of those voters home, and that's what they're committed to doing.
I don't even think it's correct to analyze this via racial lines, because the problems that are being had in the black community, the Hispanic community, are the same problems being had in the white working class community, which is cost of living. And so when Biden goes to like Morehouse and says everything, which by the way I thought was a disgraceful speech. But when he talks
what did
about,
you think was disgraceful about it?
Telling a whole group of African-American college students that their country doesn't see them in the future of this nation, that is a lie. That is an absolute disgraceful lie. But the main political problem is they have the same issues, which is cost of living, and he's not finding a message on that that's working for any of these subgroups right now.
But I think you do see him acknowledging that, and I think you see his message is getting more.
No, he doesn't acknowledge any of that. That guy is, oh, the economy is great. The economy is fine. Oh, Americans have more money. Come on now, stop it.
And more, you hear him putting empathy first. You hear him talking about, I understand what it's like to grow up in a middle-class household, and that's where I'm focused. That's what my second term will be focused on. I think he acknowledges that there's work to do there, and I think you hear him adjusting his message to that effect.
What are you hearing from, I mean, you obviously are very in touch with the progressive Democratic base. Are they as fired up as?
Oh, man. Goodness gracious. I can't watch any more of that. These folks. Oh, my goodness. Democrats are in trouble when they... I loved what, matter of fact, I want to give him, I thought I found like his account, his actual account. Sir Michael. I believe that's his name. Here, let me double check that. Yes, Sir Michael Singleton. This was the black guy that absolutely called them out during that interview. So big shout out to Sir Michael Singleton, man. You were on point, my brother. You were definitely on point and said what needed to be said, right? Because these folks have lost their darn minds, trying to defend a guy, trying to convince us black folks that we should vote for a guy that literally told us if we don't vote for him, then we ain't black. The same guy also called black kids roaches. And that's on videotape too. And I've shown y'all that videotape, that footage. This is the same guy that also said black people are super predators. This is the same guy that gave the eulogy at a KKK member's funeral. This is the same guy that said Barack Obama is the first clean and articulate mainstream black male. This is the same guy. This is crazy that I can just continually go on with this stuff, right? I could just continue to go on and on and on with the racist comments that Joe Biden has had. Now, if that had been Trump, they'd be airing that 24/7. But because it's Joe Biden, they say absolutely nothing. Like, let us not forget, this is the same guy who had cocaine in the White House. Like, I think people forgot about that. This is the same guy whose party made a sex tape. You know what? I'm gonna stop now. I'm gonna stop. Y'all got the message. We ain't voting for these folks, man. Put that orange fella back in office. Peace and love. I'm out.